Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association, providing more than 41,000 jobs in the production of wood pallets, railroad ties, white oak barrels, hardwood floors, and more. Details at choosewood.com.
We hope you enjoy listening to this podcast of St. Louis on the Air, brought to you by University College at Washington University, with undergraduate and graduate programs part-time, evening, and online. University College at Washington University, offering world-class education within reach.
And welcome back, and welcome to the sounds of the season, Christmas music. It's going to be with us for the next several weeks. This weekend, an annual event as St. Louis Cathedral Concerts will host the St. Louis Archdiocesan Choirs and Orchestra for the annual Christmas at the Cathedral Concerts. Joining me in studio are Scott Kennebeck, Executive Director of St. Louis Cathedral Concerts. Horst Buchholz is the Music Director for the St. Louis Archdiocese, and Dianne Burpee, alto, longtime member of the Archdiocesan Choir. Thank you all so much for being with us.
Good morning, Don. Thanks for having us.
Thank you. What a great way to start the segment, huh? With
well, yeah, joy to the world, Merry Christmas, all that stuff. 'Tis the season.
Yeah, absolutely is.
Well, you actually gave away our encore already. I mean, that's what we're going to sing. It's usually a surprise, but you played it already. I don't know what to sing.
Listen, people are going to be hearing Joy to the World for a lot over the next couple of weeks. Right?
You know, that's the only carol that does not even mention Christmas. You can technically sing that 365 days a year.
Well, I never thought of it that way. Why then did it become such a Christmas favorite?
Well, because that's where it came from. But it's not one of those, the little Jesus in the manger, or kind of you see the angels and the shepherds. No, it's joy to the world, the Lord has come. So something that is really applicable, I think, for every people that believe in Christ and Christmas, a 365 carol.
Scott, there is such a wide variety of Christmas music. It must be difficult for you, I suppose, to choose what you're going to perform for these annual concerts.
Well, there's a ton of great Christmas music, and Horst does a great job programming this particular concert for us. We're doing the Vivaldi Gloria this year, which is a wonderful piece, celebrating the joy of the glory of the Lord. The whole first half is actually all Vivaldi music. We're doing Winter from Vivaldi's Four Seasons, and then combining that with the Gloria. So it's going to be a great first half. The second half of the concert, we have carols, a beautiful setting of What Child Is This by Grant Cochran with lush string setting. It's just amazing in the space. It's so beautiful. And then we have carols. The kids choir is going to sing. We've got bells that'll be ringing. It's just going to be a great evening and afternoon of music with the two performances.
It always is. And we'll point out that it's going to be held this weekend. Let's see. I've got the
Saturday
at 8 o'clock at the Cathedral, obviously, and at 2:30 p.m. on
Sunday. Yeah. And tickets are still available for both concerts. We have better availability for the Saturday evening performance. Everyone likes to come for the Sunday afternoon performance, but we do still have tickets available for both of those right at cathedralconcerts.org.
Dianne, how many of these concerts have you performed in?
Oh, I'd say 17. I've been in 17 years. And I've enjoyed every one.
Yeah, I was going to ask you to just tell me a little bit about performing. For these concerts are so very special, and of course the venue is marvelous for this.
Oh, there's nothing like singing in that cathedral. We stand on the altar and look out at the beautiful church, the mosaics, and all the people who have come to enjoy that. A nice thing about singing in the concerts is that we sing to people who may not otherwise have come to the cathedral, who may never have been to the cathedral before, and to bring this beautiful sacred music to maybe a new audience.
Talk about the programming, Horst, a little bit, if you will. Scott's given us a rundown, but what's your role in pulling all this together?
Well, I mean, everybody has a little bit different expectations. We have really a mixture of everything. We have classical music on there, like the Vivaldi Gloria. or the Four Seasons, played by our wonderful concertmaster Lenora Ainop. Vivaldi is just one of the most popular composers. But then some people want to hear Christmas carols, and so there is a number of carols in various settings on the second half. So we really have something for everybody on this program. I think that's like a specialty. It's not just carol. Non-stop carol singing or something like that. And we want the audience to sing as well. So we usually have one carol at the end. I'm not going to say which one that is. That everybody will be able to join in and sing with the choirs.
Singing with a group, Dianne, I've never done it for good reason. But working with a large group, a chorus, a choir, how does that affect you as an individual when you're performing?
Oh, it makes you so much better because you learn from the singers around you as well as from the director. There's nothing like being a part of that. You can sing by yourself, you can sing with a couple other people, but singing in a large group is just, it's a challenge. It can be a challenge, but it's a wonderful challenge. It's very satisfying, especially when you play, Horst mentioned Lenora and the whole orchestra. It's just a wonderful experience.
Scott, what's the challenge for you in working with a large group?
It's like herding cats. It is like herding cats.
Thanks a
No
lot.
offense, Diane. No offense. But there's a lot of moving parts that you have to try to keep in line and on schedule and all that. But adding to Diane's, singing with a large group of people, there's studies now that show that, a large group of people singing together can get in the same heartbeat rhythm, same breathing pattern, and that's a relaxing kind of a thing. It's a stress release. It's just an incredible opportunity to have a communal experience.
Mm-hmm. Very much.
What is the history of choral music, if you will? I mean, when?
Oh my gosh!
Do we know?
Well, do we have about 4 days to talk about
this? I'm just wondering, where and how it got started, or do we even know?
I don't know that we know exactly, but I mean, the English. British choral tradition is very extensive, all the way back to the Renaissance, with Thomas Tallis and William Byrd, all those composers that wrote for smaller choirs, not as big as our choir or as the big mass choirs, but choral singing has been around forever. I mean, as long as music has been around, the voice was the first instrument. So when you get a group together, whether you're singing in unison like a Gregorian chant, all the way back to the early period of music's existence, all the way up to polyphonic things, Bach, all that kind of stuff. But I think choral music has always been a part of the community wherever you are. And we're excited to share this more with our St. Louis community.
Dianne, what drew you to it?
Well, I was encouraged to audition for the Archdiocesan choir, as I said, 17 years ago, after having sung with parish choirs for a number of years. And really, the liturgical aspect of it was something that I was anxious to do. I had sung in community choirs, community choruses, and I like the idea that this is actually a ministry, that we sing for, like the Chrism Mass on Holy Thursday, we sing for the ordination of priests, the Feast of Corpus Christi. It's not really a concert choir, but it's a wonderful, I remember the thrill I had the first time I walked through the doors, marked choir and clergy only. I thought, oh, that's me. I feel very privileged to be able to sing in that group. And having said that, even though it's not a concert choir, when we do get to sing a concert such as this, it's very satisfying, as Scott said, to bring this to the community.
Yeah. Horst, what drew you to it?
Well, I sang as a boy in a boys' choir, and then decided that church music is really something that fascinates me, not just the music, the repertoire, but also the ministry aspect of it. And so I studied church music first in Germany, then studied conducting, got my doctorate here in the United States, and somehow got stuck here. So then I never returned, and I've been in the United States now for more years than I lived in Germany, which is where I grew up.
Yeah. What is the background of the choir? How long has it
Well,
been?
the choir, the Archdiocesan choir, has been around for about 30 years or so, a little more maybe.
Not quite that long. It was originally started
Around the
in
papal visit,
1994, actually.
Yeah.
With the when Cardinal Regali was installed as Archbishop here. It was really when it first got its impetus, but it really blossomed with the papal visit of St. John Paul II in 1999. So,
But it was mainly intended to be a liturgical choir that would sing for larger celebrations at the cathedral and elsewhere. And then the Christmas concert, and we've done other concerts as well, grew out of that, so that people not only sing in the back of the church where they're invisible, but occasionally take the stage. And Scott and his team of elves does a marvelous job. People don't know that when they come to the concert, but they really transform the cathedral into a stage. I mean, it takes a lot of effort to put that together so that the orchestra has place to sit and the choir place to stand.
Who are the choir members?
The choir members are really members of parish choirs. I mean, the core of the Archdiocesan choir is the cathedral choir that sings there every week. And then the additional members come really from parishes all over the Archdiocese.
Yeah. Let's listen to more of the music of the type that folks will be hearing this weekend. We have a couple of selections. We've heard part of Joy to the World. Let's go to the First Noel, which is another popular one. And anything we want to say about that before we listen?
No, that's again one of the great English carols. So let's just listen to it and enjoy it.
The First Noel. The First Noel. I thought we were on the air a minute ago. We weren't. You said it's an old English carol. Tell me about its background.
It's an old English carol, but don't take that too literally. It's not the first Noel that was ever written, of course. But it comes out of the English tradition. And here, actually, this is an arrangement by Sir David Wilcox, who was one of the great English choral conductors, composers, and arrangers, and as a very festive setting of that text and the music.
Scott, in the world of religion, why is it that Christmas dominates musically, if you will? I mean, we don't have a lot of Easter songs. And
well, that's not entirely true. I think there's a lot of Easter repertoire, a lot of other things, but I think part of the dominance of Christmas has to do with the commercialization of it as well. So that would kind of veer off the religion aspect of this question, but I think people just identify with Christmas and the coming of our Savior as a baby. That's the mystery of it, and it's easily shared in the music of the season. I think, at least what we do at the cathedral. Now, people aren't going to hear Frosty the Snowman and Jingle Bells and things like that at the cathedral. So it's more traditional, more sacred style of music to really express the joy and the mystery of the season.
Dianne, you've been saying this for a long time. Do you have any thoughts on that as to why Christmas dominates musically?
Well, I think people can connect with music. It speaks to everybody. It speaks even people who aren't musicians. They may not be able to express it verbally, but put them in a Christmas concert, listening to music, it just connects.
And really in that space, I mean, with this music in that space is a whole nother dimension for a Christmas concert. You know, there's a Christmas concert everywhere these days. You know, all the halls have them, all the theaters have them. But to hear the Christmas music of the season in a sacred space like the cathedral adds just a whole nother dimension to the experience.
Oh, go ahead, Diane.
One other thing that I thought of, Horst mentioned the wonderful arrangement of What Child Is This? There are a lot of things that we sing. They're not the same old arrangements that you hear on, you know, in the shopping malls or anything. That arrangement, that is, I just got goosebumps. It is so beautiful. It's worth the price of admission to hear that one song. And I think people get excited about that when it's not just the same old thing. I had someone...
coming back to the question that you asked earlier, I think Christmas music expresses joy. And Easter, well, we talk about the joy of Easter, but that is not nearly the same. And I think it's that feeling of joy that really draws people into the music. And you can hear that in a lot of these carols.
I have a note here that on the computer saying Handel's Messiah was originally written for Easter, but now it's used almost exclusively at Christmas time.
Well, the Messiah has several portions. I mean, there is the Christmas portion, which is about the first hour of it. And then the whole thing is rarely performed in its entirety. It's like, 2.5 hours?
2.5 hours, yeah.
And then there is a portion that is more appropriate for Easter, the Hallelujah chorus, and so on. So, what you hear for Christmas and Christmas concerts is usually just the Christmas portion of the Messiah. Rarely do people talk about the passion, suffering, death of Christ, because there are some worthy is the Lamb that was slain. Those are also parts of the Messiah. Nobody wants to hear that for Christmas.
Yeah.
For unto us a child is born.
Right. For us, and the
One that everybody knows.
I also have a message here saying a listener, Lisa, sent a tweet questioning if Joy to the World is the only carol that doesn't mention Christmas. She's going after you, Horst.
Yeah, no, I would have to research that a little bit, but it's one that I thought we actually sing it even in February usually. I mean, like for Candlemas is one of those that technically does not fall in the Christmas season anymore, but that's something that reminds us of Christmas, but it doesn't talk about the angels standing around the manger or so. It's not a picturesque carol in that way.
How does our tradition here differ from with which you grew up, under which you grew up
that's
in
a
Germany?
Little bit different because, I mean, I've been away for almost 30 years. I think Germany has also become more commercialized. I mean, as Scott mentioned that. I mean, you hear a lot of jingles in the malls and so on. But when I grew up there, it was certainly a little bit more quiet, the whole celebration of Christmas. And the German carols, I mean, look at something like Lo, how a Rose are Blooming or Silent Night. Those are usually the more quiet carols. Not all of them, but there are a lot of those in that.
Silent Night was an Austrian, wasn't it?
Yes.
Stille Nacht, Heilige Nacht.
Yes.
When I lived there, I was always surprised to see that people were using lighted candles on the Christmas tree.
They still do that.
Dangerous. Pretty dangerous.
And there was usually a bucket with water next to it.
I would think that would have to be the case. Scott, how difficult is it to put together a program like this? You're working with a lot of people. You're working with a lot of music.
It is.
How long does it take?
Don't say herding cats again.
No, I won't. It takes several months to get everything, the music selected, the music to players, for them to be ready for the performance, the rehearsals with the choir. So it's a time-consuming process, but it's done with joy, and sharing it with the community is what we're all about. So we just want people to come out and experience the music in the cathedral.
How much rehearsing do you have to do?
It's usually about 5 or 6 weeks of rehearsals with the choir, and then the orchestra we have are all professional musicians that make this as their living, so they're used to coming in fairly quickly and being able to perform at a high level. So we had a rehearsal last night, as a matter of fact. We'll have a rehearsal Friday night, and then on with the show on Saturday.
We've only got a few seconds left, but we have a question here for you, Diane. Do members of the choir hear the music sung in the same way the audience does? You're surrounded by...
That's a good one.
Oh, that's a good question. It's not at all the same. because you hear what's very important when you're in a choir is to blend. And so we're listening to the parts around us, the other sections.
Sure.
And a lot of times you just hope it sounds as wonderful out there as it does around you.
Yeah, the space
But it's
between
the
the audience
space-
and the performers is where the magic happens.
Exactly,
Yeah.
especially in the cathedral.
Another reminder, as our time winds down, the concert's December 1st, 8 p.m. That's for Friday night, I guess. Or
Saturday
night.
night.
Saturday night. Second concert Sunday at 2:30 p.m. at the Cathedral Basilica. Thanks so much, Scott Kennebeck. Great to see you again.
Thank you,
Horst
Don.
Buchholz, great to see you. Thank you. And Dianne Burpee, thank you for being with us. This is St. Louis on the Air on St. Louis Public Radio, 90.7 KWMU.
Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association. Missouri produces wood pallets, railroad ties, white oak barrels, hardwood floors, and more. Details on the variety of products made in the state are at choosewood.com.